and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Dunedin Film Festival podcast. We're here with Blair Barnette, the chair of the British Film Designers Guild, a member of the Dunedin Film Festival board as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Blair.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, okay, so I have barely gotten to scratch the surface on all things Blair, from what you do for work with film festivals, what you do for the British Film Designers Guild, and just who you are.
So I'm a production designer, and what that is I visualize what a film should look like for the narrative arc, but also how it works with getting a real crew in to make it happen. So it's sort of an architect for the film. You choose the colors, you choose the sets, you just make things work. You build things so that walls can fly out, so you can get a dolly track in there. I mean, there might be a small bathroom scene with two people really intimate sitting on the floor. But what you don't see on camera is the director, the focus puller, the cinematographer, the 6 ACs in the back of that, the dolly track, the lighting guy, all of that, sound, boom op, all of those things fitting into those rooms. So you sometimes have to build something that incorporates all of that so they can fit in and do their job.
Heard how that happens, and thinking of, especially when it's like a bathroom stall and you're in a bathroom stall with two people, and that's the things I think about. I'm like, where is everyone else who's like making this scene happen?
Yes, sometimes you'll build like a mirror that pops out and you're shooting back on somebody putting their makeup on. That's like something that we can look at from this direction, and then we can take it away and put the camera behind it. So there's little tricks that we do. Those are all like kind of pure technical parts of the job, but then also like the story palette, the little characterful details that you see all around the room, all of those things are extensions of the actor and their characters themselves. So you're extending their world even when they're not opening their mouths. And there has to be a holistic process for that. It needs to be completely congruous, or else, I mean, how many times have you been watching a show and you get to know a character and then you go to their house and you're like, they would never live here.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I think that a lot when you get to know the character and they're chaotic, but then their house is clean, it's not even lived in. It's those little things that you really do think about because you get to know this person. And so what got you into doing this particular line of work? Like, what was it that helped you take these brain babies that you had of creativity and turn it into real films?
Well, very strange career arc. And I started as an actor. When I was a kid watching TV and watching movies, you're like, I want to do this. This is the magic that I need to do. I was always decorating my room and putting on plays with my cats and things like that. Not Barbie dolls. I liked cats. I dressed them up in costumes that I made. They didn't like it so much. But that's another story. You know, as a kid, like, what can you wrap your head around in the film business? Actors, they're moving, they're there. I can see them. I like the way they look. Like, that's the only frame of reference you had. I didn't realize that this world building was a career until I was working at Nickelodeon, and the art department hanging out around the craft services table. They were the only ones who were talking to me, and they were really nice and they were really cool. So I got some work and started doing that, and there you go. I was off. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be in front of the camera ever again, although we're doing it now.
Yes.
But I really liked creating those worlds. That really worked with me, and being able to do this, not so you're not being focused on so much, but you're out here orchestrating everything for somebody else so that they can focus. And I really like that. I like that process a lot.
And what a great place to get your footing in Nickelodeon, where it is about imagination. It is about creating these childlike experiences and leading imagination, and not just the standard world and standard sets.
Absolutely. And this was in the 90s as well, when like everything's in camera, and you know there's lots of live TV and like not so much syndicated. And it was a great place to get my feet wet. I also did a lot of theater and design for operas, because I really like the way the sets were, and the way that even the costumes were extensions of what the show was. The kids TV and things like Nickelodeon and Muppets. I worked for Muppets as well. It's just a really great way, like you said, to make something that's completely from your imagination. Even the sizes of things aren't the same. So everything is exactly how you want it. You can't just buy it in a shop. And I mean, that was like a dopamine hit from the morning till I went to bed all day long. I'm like making things and crafting things. I really loved that. I feel really lucky that with a group of people here in Florida, a lot of this was going on in Florida. Wavy Davy, who you met,
Yes.
and Seth Walker from here. A lot of these people were, and also Cameron's father. All these people worked in Florida, and we all were kind of a tribe, like stamping it out. It was the Hollywood South, and I love the fact that I could start my career here in Florida doing that and take it worldwide. But it was salad days.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Being able to create that, like you said, every day you're creating things from your imagination and that get to prolong, progress the story along and they play in that role. So that's amazing to have had that. And then you just touched on now you get to take that craft worldwide. So what do you do as the chair of the British Film Designers Guild?
That is okay. It's kind of like our IATSEs, but it's not a union, it's a guild. So we're a society that promotes the advocacy of our craft and to help support each other and help mentor younger people coming into it, and also work with PACT and BEC2, who are the unions, in order to make rates fair, working conditions fair, wellness at work, diversity, making sure that people are hired from all aspects of life. We really try to promote all those values to make the tapestry of what we're doing as a department just the most rich and the most rewarding for everyone. And it is a hard slog because it's hard in the film industry in that every time you go to work, you're inventing the wheel and it's so risky. You're taking gambles all the time. So people are really afraid to take gambles. They want to, at least the things that they know are safe and they can count on. They're just like, why fix this? So they hire the same people again and again and again and again. They don't want to give an unknown quantity a chance because you don't get another shot. There's really no room for error, no margin for error, especially nowadays. Like it's getting even less and less and less room for error. So, but we try to make sure that other people get a leg up and a way into the industry so that you get different voices being heard and different stories that are being highlighted, because we need to reflect life. It's not just about a certain faction of people. And when you're making a film, your own experiences, your own backgrounds is not something that you can get in a book. It's like, what did your grandmother have in her house growing up? That memory.
Yes.
You take that from your own mind map and put it on screen. Those are the things that translate to viewers as realistic.
And that is amazing that you are creating a way to truly continue a legacy in this craft. Like, as you were saying, that if people are just hiring the same person over and over again, what happens when they're no longer here and we have now have a craft that we've allowed to die out because of the exclusivity. Whereas what you guys are doing is understanding there's a risk and understanding that there is a risk with new people, but they're only going to learn with that practice.
Exactly. And it is nurturing the future generations because they're the ones, like you said, people retire, they move on. The younger people, they come in, they not only, are replacing people that are leaving, but they also are adapting and self-correcting to what's going on in the world. So they're making things more sustainable. They care about wellness at work. They care about not having a toxic environment on set. And let's face it, sometimes that happens in this industry. People are heated. You snap at each other. There's a lot of bad behavior from people on set. I absolutely love Gen Z. I love it because they're like, no, we're not having any of this. And they're setting boundaries and they're setting a good example. But bringing them into the workforce and nurturing them and giving them our collective experience handed down, I want to pave the way. I want them to fix things. Or I didn't have that growing up. It was awful. You know what I mean? You made a mistake. Somebody threw something at you, and then they patted you on the ass and pushed you out the door. So I really want to be a part of that more than being a designer. I want to be an activist in that area and help legislation and help just help the film industry in general to be better. And the art department is such a huge part of that. We're generally the biggest department on set in a film. So we make all the magic and we get a lot of the stress. So I want to make it better for all of us.
If there are people listening to the show right now who want to support that and also help make it better, is there an organization they can donate to, subscribe to, learn more from to continue this activism?
Well, I mean, there's lots of different organizations that do different things. And so if you do a Google search or just, if you're in America, you go to your own union and find out what's going on. Everybody has a way into that. In England, we have the Film and TV charity, which really helps supporting people who might have, difficult. They help people during the strikes. And but our organization, BFDG, it's more of a collective of community. There's also an international. There's Production Designers Collective, which I'm a member of as well, and that is all the designers around the world have kind of grouped into their own little special club, and it's not they don't deal with work things, any legalities or any kind of deal memos or any of that. It's more about just supporting each other and showing the world what it is that we actually do, because it is quite intangible. You never know what the art department does. If we've done our job correctly, you don't know that we've been there. It looks perfect the way it is. And it's like, oh, you walked into this house and it's exactly right. How did you find such a perfect place for the script? Oh my God, there's even a door there where it says it should be. I roll. No, you didn't find it that way. We built that. We've been here for like a month. But but you don't know because it looks that natural that you wouldn't think that somebody made it.
Creating something that natural for the even actors to come in and see, that translates to the audience, because we can see that comfortability for the actors when they're in a space that feels like it's where they're supposed to be, and that authenticity will come through. We see that.
Exactly. And also touching on that, actors are brilliant in the fact that they can just imagine everything around them, but you want to feed into that and help them more. And it might just be scripted that somebody walks into a room and opens a door, but maybe they want to expand on that. Maybe they want to change their blocking and go over and open this door over here. So you put things in there to give them a bit of business so that they can find their own feet and be natural, so that not every single little beat is scripted and micromanaged for them. You want to give somebody room to unpack on their own and be natural, because now you're being light. It's not robotic. So we have to build these worlds around them to allow them to flourish and do their craft.
It sounds like a choose your own adventure book, giving them those opportunities of this is the path of what would happen if they chose that.
Exactly. That's a really good analogy.
Yeah, I love a good choose your own adventure. Wonderful. So I've been dying to talk about one very specific thing.
Okay.
I heard that you had a little something to do with helping bring the pink in Barbie to the life that it is. So tell me more about that.
Well, it's a particular product, actually. I'm an ambassador for this company. It's Roscoe. And back in Nickelodeon days, I was absolutely obsessed with this Roscoe fluorescent pink. And it's so light, like this looks like gray by comparison. It's just so lofty. And I use that as a base for all the colors that I mixed. Whether it's blue, it's purple, or whatever, I use that instead of white. And it just basically made those colors jump off screen and just like take on a life of their own, almost look like an ink or a light as opposed to a paint. And it was great in Nickelodeon for kids TV because it just jumped off, but also for job security because like nobody could color match. They didn't know what my formula was, So if something needed to be touched up, they'd have to call me back in so I could mix it and do this. And so that's been my favorite pink paint forever. And Sarah Greenwood, who's a friend of mine, a member of the BF, and one of the best production designers I've ever worked with. She was a designer on Barbie, and her team has been nominated for the Academy Award, which is so cool. So we used that paint, to and she bought it out. Upon recommendation, she really went for it and bought it out. So that paint, Roscoe fluorescent pink, in the whole world, she bought every single can of it to use for Barbie. And there was a shortage of pink paint worldwide that made Variety, it made the Hollywood News, it made everything. It was quite a joke in the industry, the fact that there's no more pink paint for anybody else because Barbie used it all. And
as she should.
Yes, as she should. Absolutely. So that's a fun little tidbit.
I love that. That is so great, and just again shows the work you're doing in the guild, right? So it's not about hoarding the information and holding it. It is how do you as production designers and truly as these artists, how do you share these crafts and these craft knowledges to keep making magic that we can believe in?
Exactly, because we sometimes, artists are naturally, you have an imposter syndrome, you know what I mean? It's like every single day you're like, oh my God, someone's going to find out that I'm absolutely full of it. So we keep our cards close to our chest, and you don't want to be debunked. You don't want the mystique to go away, So you try not to give too much information away. But you are a wealth of information. You owe it to the world and to the future generation to pass that along. And so you have to take that leap of faith, and you have to make yourself vulnerable and have belief in yourself that no, actually, what I do is absolute magic. Everybody might not understand me, but it's magic. Not many people can do that. So stand up, take up space, believe in that, and pass the torch along to other people so they can be extensions of you as well. It's really important to nurture the people coming in.
And I love the way you talk about that and how you talk about the importance of sharing just all parts of you with the people. So sharing that vulnerability, sharing that imposter syndrome. And because when people know that they're not only to experience in this way, that they just know they're not alone. So showing that vulnerability is key.
I'm actually going to start a podcast of my own called My Spectacular Failures. I go through and I explain every single thing that went wrong and make a joke of it. Not take yourself so seriously, but that other people can see. Because you know what? We're all making mistakes. We're human beings. To err is human. But it's what you do in that moment. It's about not freaking out and finding that calm and using critical thinking and getting yourself navigating those waters and finding a solution. That's where the talent is. You're not going to be held accountable for making a mistake, but you're fixing it. That's where the talent is. So don't be afraid to own it.
Absolutely, failing forward is the way any true what's the word, not ingenuity, innovation. Absolutely, failing forward is how all great innovation is born, and being willing to risk it all for the great success that can come.
Absolutely.
Well, Blair, thank you so much for being on the show, learning more about you and our blooming friendship. I'm so excited to continue learning about all things pink and all the other little tricks that you know. But thank you more than anything for being on the show and being you and helping people all over the world.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being here, especially at Dunedin International Film Festival. I've been on a part of this from the very beginning, of taking the reins from my father, who did the first year with Cameron. And I flew all the way here. I'm in the middle of a production, but I flew all the way here just so I can't miss this because it's really important. I love this town.
And what do you love the most about Dunedin?
Oh gosh, it's a laundry list. I just love the unconditional love, the complete support, the diversity of it, the candor of it, the beauty. I mean, come on. That's real. I did not paint that. And yeah, I mean, just everybody here is just not too full of it, and super supportive, and there's so much love for everybody. And it's like a little special little enclave. It's not so much like the rest of Florida. It's it's like Schitt's Creek.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's that town. Everybody's great. And yeah, I can't think of a better town, actually. I really love it here.
Here, I'm thankful you're a part of the Dunedin International Film Festival. You're continuing your father's work, making your own branding. Again, thank you for being on the Dunedin Film Festival podcast.
Thank you.